This week, the Super Mario Galaxy opens in cinemas, and I'll be honest, I'm excited to see it. I love the first one, and any excuse to get to a cinema is a good one as far as I'm concerned. But before I go and grab my popcorn, and in this case, there's a very specific popcorn vessel I want to talk about, I want to spend this episode looking at what Universal and Nintendo have built around this film from a licensing and promotional perspective, because this is a genuinely impressive rollout. And whether you're a licensee, a retailer, a brand manager, or just someone who finds it fascinating how IP travels into the real world, there is a lot to unpack here. I'm David Bourne, and this is Born to License. Let me start with a point I often come back to in this show. Licensing is a revenue stream, absolutely, but it's also a marketing tool. And when it's done well, it's one of the most powerful ones available. The licensed products you see in the supermarket aisle or a toy store doesn't just make money. It builds awareness, it drives conversation, and critically, it puts bums on seats. We saw a beautiful example of this recently with General Mills and Marty Supreme. They put the character on Wheaties boxes. Those boxes sold out almost immediately, and it became one of the biggest press moments in the lead up to that film. It wasn't a traditional ad. It was a product on a shelf, and it cut through. Wicked is another great example. Universal invested in one of the most amazing style guides the industry has seen for years, and the licensing program around Part 1 in particular was genuinely unavoidable at retail. I couldn't walk into any store without seeing it. That visibility contributed to a cultural moment that no doubt helped put audiences into cinemas. And don't get me started with the Barbie movie, the playbook to end all playbooks as far as a licensed product driving crowds to cinemas. Now, Super Mario Galaxy is in that same category because what makes this IP different is that it doesn't need a film to have licensing success. Mario is an all-year-round product. It performs at retail whether there's a tentpole or there's not a tentpole. But what a film like this does is it gives every retailer and licensee a reason to rally around the brand and give it a massive push at exactly the right moment. It's a permission structure for more shelf space, more activation, and more ambition. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Let's start with toys because this is where the master of strategy really shows. JAKKS Pacific is back as master global toy partner, and the range they've built for this film is impressive. We've got 5-inch articulated figures of Mario, Yoshi, Luma, Rosalina, and Bowser Jr., each with unique accessories. There's also 1.5-inch minifigures, jumbo posable plush, pullback kart racers, and this is my personal favorite, glow-in-the-dark Luma yo-yos. The Yoshi Egg playset cracks open into a double-sided adventure with a New York museum scene on one side and a dry outpost complete with bats and a warp pipe on the other. There's also a Gateway Galaxy diorama set and a deluxe Bowser Castle playset. The range has already hit retail in February, 6 weeks before the film, which is exactly the right timing. What's worth highlighting from a licensing industry perspective is how the 2023 toy range performed. According to Circana data, the 5-inch JAKKS figures were the only action figures in the top 50 best-selling toys for multiple months in 2023. That's the kind of retail performance that gets a partnership renewed. And it was. Now, alongside JAKKS, you've got Mattel and Fisher-Price with the Little People My Mario collection, and I think this is genuinely underappreciated from a strategy standpoint. This is the first time Nintendo characters have appeared as Little People figures. Fisher-Price is the #1 toddler toy brand in the world with over 2 billion Little People figures sold, and they're now introducing Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser, Yoshi, and Toad to kids who haven't even picked up a Switch yet. Mario's adventure playset has iconic music, a question block, a chain chomp, a warp pipe, all designed for those tiny hands. Bowser's airship is a push-along. And this is not just a licensing deal, this is an investment in the next generation of Mario fans. That's long game licensing at its best. And it's exactly what a brand like Nintendo with genuine multi-generational appeal should be doing. Now let's talk about promotional partnerships because the breadth here is significant. McDonald's launched a Happy Meal promotion on March 26, 6 days ahead of the film. 12 collectible character toy posable clips, including Mario, Luigi, and the gang, and even Mario in his frog suit. In Brazil, the partnership has gone even further. Themed packaging across the Big Mac and McNuggets meals, new sauces, a new sundae, a new Sprite flavor. McDonald's and Mario have a history going back over 30 years, and that relationship clearly remains very much alive. General Mills is also going all in on the Super Mario Galaxy movie. We're talking over 100 participating products across brands that you know: Lucky Charms, Pillsbury, Betty Crocker, Old El Paso, Nature Valley, Fruit Roll-Ups, and more. There's hero launches, including Lucky Charms strawberry cereal with galactic marshmallows, Pillsbury ready-to-bake Yoshi-shaped sugar cookie dough, and galaxy-inspired fruit roll-ups. This is food licensing at its very best, when a consumer can experience the product all the way to consumption. They even built a dedicated website, itsgalaxytime.com, with activities, film-inspired content, and more than 20 galactic recipes. That is a comprehensive, committed promotional partner, not just a logo slap on a cereal box. Now let's talk about Bubbly, PepsiCo's sparkling water brand. They've launched 3 limited edition film-inspired flavors: Meteor Melon, Cosmic Swirl, and Dragon Fruit Stardust. The cans feature Luma characters that change color when chilled, which is very cool. And hidden inside select 8 packs are 50 special Rosalina cans. Find one and you win an all-expenses paid trip to NASA's Kennedy Space Center. That is a brilliant mechanic. It turns a promotional can into a bit of a treasure hunt, which is so much fun. And then there's Feastables, McBeast's snack brand, which has released 3 Mario Galaxy products: the Galaxy Cocoa Crunch Bar, white chocolate peanut butter Yoshi eggs, they sound delicious, and Sour Boost gummies. They're available at Kroger, 7-Eleven, Five Below, Walmart, and Regal Cinemas. Now what's interesting here from a licensing perspective is that Feastables is a creator-led brand. It only launched in 2022, and yet here it is, sitting alongside McDonald's and General Mills as a promotional partner on one of the biggest animated films of the year. That's a sign of how much the landscape has shifted. And Nestle has also activated, primarily in markets like Brazil, with their Bono and Negresco cookie lines and themed snowflake cereal packaging. A reminder that this is a truly global rollout. It will be unavoidable wherever you are in the world. The licensing machine extends far beyond the US market. On that note, Krispy Kreme has launched Mario, Yoshi, and Luma donuts in Japan from April 8th, with a question block mystery donut thrown in for good measure. I couldn't confirm a Western release at time of recording, but given the appetite for this kind of thing, I wouldn't be surprised if that changes. Now, let me get to that popcorn bucket that I teased at the top of the episode, because I have to talk about this. This is one of those moments that perfectly encapsulates how theatrical collectibles have become a genuine marketing category in their own right. Universal, Illumination, and Zinc, working with AMC, have broken a Guinness World Record for the world's smallest commercially available popcorn container. It is a miniature Bowser cauldron. It measures just 2.6 inches wide. It holds 105 milliliters, which is about 5 to 11 kernels of popcorn, and it costs $7.69. And I'm really excited to say this, it's actually a plot point, because at the end of the 2023 film, Bowser consumed a blue star that shrank him to a miniature size. The cauldron is a 1-to-1 replica of the tiny container he ends up in. So the collectible is telling the story, and that is just so smart. Here's the context that makes this even better. Less than 8 months before this record was set, the Galactus bucket from Fantastic Four set the Guinness World Record for the largest popcorn container, 9 liters. 17.5 inches tall, and that one was $79.99. Zinc went in the exact opposite direction, went from biggest to smallest in under a year. And other Mario branded buckets have also done really well. The Yoshi bucket has sold out on pre-order. So these things are not a novelty, they are the category. Another great example, the Devil Wears Prada handbag bucket. It did exactly the same thing earlier this year. Just a month ago, I saw it and it was unavoidable on my LinkedIn, on my Instagram feeds. A great collectible becomes its own piece of earned media. People post it, they queue for it, they talk about it, and it goes round and round. It's its own flywheel, and every one of those posts is a reminder that the film exists and it's worth going to, and people go see the movie because of all of this buzz. So what's the takeaway for those of us in the licensing industry? Mario Galaxy is giving us a masterclass on how to use a tentpole film to amplify an evergreen brand. Not replace it, amplify it. The IP was strong before the film was announced. The licensing was already working, but a theatrical release creates a window, a reason for every retailer and every brand partner to lean into that same moment. It concentrates the energy. The other lesson is about the range of activation. Toys, food, beverages, confectionery, QSR, theatrical collectibles, and I'm really just touching the surface. There's so much more product out there. And the great creator brand partnership with Feastables that I mentioned. Every corner of daily life has been touched by this campaign, and every touch point is doing two jobs at once, selling product and selling tickets. I'm genuinely excited to see the film. I can't wait. I hope it's a huge success for Nintendo and Universal, both at the box office and at retail, and I hope all the licensees and retailers find success with this film as well. Based on everything I've seen in the lead up, I think it will be. Before I wrap up, if you haven't listened already, I had an amazing chat with Davey Fogarty recently for the podcast. Davey is the younger shark on Shark Tank Australia. He founded wearable blanket brand The Oodie. We spoke about all things licensing, and Davey shared some really interesting tales from the early days of his licensing journey. You can find that episode on the same platform that you're right now listening to me on. In more personal news, those who have been following me on Instagram would have seen that I had some bad news. I've gained an injury that is preventing me from running a marathon I've been training my butt off for the last 6 months. So I am devastated. It doesn't sound like it. I am talking to you with a smile on my face, but really, I am pretty disappointed. If you're not following me on Instagram, come on over and get to know me a little more. Make me feel a bit better. If LinkedIn is more your thing, I'm posting my thoughts and opinions on all things licensing there on a regular basis. And of course, if you want to dive even deeper, check out thedavidbourne.com, where I have a bunch of licensing things going on. Thanks for listening. Until next time, I'm David Bourne, and this is Born to License.